Welcome, friends. I am Dr. V.K. Chauhan, homeopathic physician. Revise with me homeopathic remedy Agaricus Muscarius, and this is Part 4A PQR review. Text is taken up from Ellen's Keynote, and this is a text which is helpful to BHMS homeopathic students. The Ellen's Keynote has symptoms given in running text, and each sentence represents a PQR or redline symptom. The drawback is that the text is disorganized in sequence and continuity. This is the text which we see entire text in Ellen's Keynote. On going through the text, we find that it is having about 20 PQRs. So let us go for the first PQR. It is persons with light hair, skin and muscle lax. It tells us about the constitution part or somatic features of Agaricus Muscarius. Second red line symptom is old people with weak indolent circulation. Again, it tells us about the constitution of the subject, and here it is specifically dealing with the subject who is old and there is a circulation which is having problem, maybe because of atherosclerosis. Third red line symptom belongs to general, particular head, ailments from, and generality. It has drunkards, especially for their headaches, bad effects after a debauch. And we have similar remedies where you have to differentiate symptomatic symptoms, lobelia, nux vomica, and ranunculus. Fourth red line symptom is delirium with constant raving, tries to get out of bed in typhoid or typhus. So it is a mental general. You will find usually this state takes place in the second stage of the typhoid, and it is a toxic state. It means the patient is not being treated with antibiotics and it is following the natural course of the disease, or you are looking at the second week natural history of typhoid. Fifth PQR is headache of those who really become delirious in fever or with pain. Like similar remedies, belladonna of persons subject to chorea, twitchings or grimaces from spinal affections. So here these people who have fever, they are prone to develop chorea. In those days, probably rheumatic fever was very common and people used to see rheumatic chorea very commonly, or Sydenham's chorea was very common, which is not so nowadays. Red line symptom 6 is the chilblains that itch and burn intolerably, frostbite, and all consequences of exposure to cold, especially in the face. So in winters, when there is ice and people get exposed to extreme cold, there is a cold injury, frostbite, and which is generally we don't see in Indian context. PQR 7 or seventh red line symptom is involuntary movements while awake, seizures during sleep. I must tell you that all the extra pyramidal symptoms, whether it is a Parkinson's disease, whether it is a chorea, whether it is hemiballism, they generally become they subside during sleep. So this is looks like a very peculiar symptom, but to me, it appears to be a very common kind of a presentation. Anyway, chorea from simple motions and jerks of single muscles to dancing of the whole body, trembling of the whole body, twitching of the muscles of face is mygal. Anyway, so there could be a very simple localized twitchings to generalize trembling. So it has got all the shades of trembling, generally what you will see in this remedy. Now the PQR 8 tells us about sensation as if eyes touched or ice cold needles were piercing the skin as from hot needles also. So this is general characteristic symptom. PQR 9 tells us about burning, itching, redness of various parts, ears, nose, face, hands, feet. Parts are red, swollen and hot. This is something to do with chilblains, or you see frostbite, which is the exposed part which have this kind of a sensation or presentation. PQR 10 tells us about uncertainty in walking, stumbles over everything in the way, heels, pain as if bitten while standing. So this particular characteristic, particular general symptom in extremity has got two components. One is ataxia, which is cerebellar ataxia. It is really a central nervous system symptom where there is a incoordination while walking. And second is the heel pain. It is plantar fasciitis, which becomes worse when you stand up early morning, and when you walk for a few minutes, probably it will give you relief. Redline symptom 11 is a spine sensitive to touch, and it is worst morning. PQR 12 tells us about pain, sore, aching in lumbar and sacral region during exertion, in daytime, and while sitting. So lumbar sacral region painful is very prominent in this particular remedy. Low backache, what we can call. And PQR 13 tells us about spinal irritation due to sexual excess. This is Califos, and this belongs to characteristic particular general symptoms where we have got the exciting cause like sexual excess, and spinal irritation is a local symptom, particular symptom. So these are two things which are elements from, and its affect spinal irritation. PQR 14 is nervous prostration after sexual debauch. Again, it has got two components. The sexual debauch is an exciting cause or element from, and general prostration is a general characteristic symptom. PQR 15 tells us about epilepsy from suppressed eruptions, and we have two more remedies which qualify for the same symptom. They are surinum and sulfur. So it is a characteristic general, and elements from you find suppressed eruptions. PQR 16 tells us about every motion, every turn of body causes pain in the spine. So it is low backache, which is worse by movement. It is a particular symptom. PQR 17 tells us about single vertebra sensitive to touch, which we generally find as a very uncommon peculiar symptom. And PQR 18 is prolapsus post-climacteric, bearing down, pain almost intolerable. And we have here comparative remedies: lilium, murex and sepia. It is a female symptom, generally you will find in post-climacteric phase. Now 19th Redline symptom is extreme sensitivity to cold. The patient is chilly, like calcarea, calicarb and surinum. We have similar remedies for that. And then we have the PQR 20, complaints appear diagonally. This is a side affinity, upper left and lower right side is affected, like what we see in antimonium tart and stramonium. However, upper right and lower left is affected in ambra Bromium, medurinum, phosphorus, sulfuric acid. So this symptom is very peculiar, and in relationship we find that similar to remedies similar to Actia, Calcarea, Cannabis indica, Hyoscyamus, Califos, Lachesis, Nux opium, and Stramonium. In delirium of alcoholism to Miguel, Theridion, and Zincum in Curia. So aggravation is after eating, after quietus, cold air, mental application before a thunderstorm similar to phosphorus and soranum, and that is what Allen tells us about this particular remedy. So thank you very much for your patient listening.